going and Shaira is following up with you on the chat. So the problem in hearing the participating hearing us, please use the chat so that we can make sure that we can support you at our best. Okay, so I see many participants from different locations from your offices, and I think we can officially start the webinar since also it's 3 p.m. Somebody else will join the webinar later. So welcome everybody. This is the last webinar of the course. It's the third webinar that we are having through this course, e-learning at UNOG, and we are very happy that you have been participating in all the live sessions of this course, and also you have been quite active in the forum discussions as well, and in the assignments. Well, I see that in Geneva you're also having some sunshine. In Torino as well, we are also benefiting from good weather, and which is also good after the snow that we have been having last week. And I hope that we are not going to have many technical issues this time. And I just want to make sure that everybody is connected and can hear me. So I would like just to have a quick hello from you that you are attending the webinar. So Almudena, can you just say something?
Yeah, I'm hearing fine, so it's
okay.
It's okay.
Thank you, Fabienne. Fabienne, here.
Hear you. I had unmute my mic, but now it's open.
Okay, thank you. Gilan, are you here? Are you connected?
Yes, signorina.
Okay.
Yes.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Bien. Lee, are you there?
Yes. Yes.
Rodrigo, you hear us?
I can hear you, signorina.
Good morning. Is morning right now?
It's here, and we don't have any sun. It's raining like.
Hey, I'm sorry for you.
Like that.
Sarah, can you hear us?
Yes.
Perfect. Carol, with us? Yes. I'm happy that it's working. I'm happy that it's working for you today.
Thank you very much. That's thanks to you.
Thank you. No, for letting me know that you were experiencing some difficulties. It's the case with technology. Shaira, can you hear us?
Yes, I am. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the last webinar.
Thank you. And finally, we have Jesus. Jesus, are you there? Are you with us? Jesus? Maybe Shaira, can you just individually follow up with him on chat? We're sure he's participating. Sandrine?
Good afternoon, everyone. I know you can't see me, but I can hear you very well.
Okay. Sylviane, could you solve your issue with the audio? Are you there?
It's okay. It's working. Thanks a lot.
Okay, perfect. So I think it's working better than last time. Veronique?
Can hear you.
And
hello, I hear you. Thank you.
Thank you for being there. Okay, so I'm very happy that we have a quite big group for this last webinar, and that you are all very well connected apart from Jesus. For this last webinar session, as you see on the screen, alone, as you heard from, you heard Shaira and Rodrigo intervening as well. We will be facilitating this live session. Unfortunately, Tom is not with us today because he's on mission. He's in South Africa, but he sends his greetings to everybody. We will make sure to connect to the forum discussion and see what was happening in the webinar today. And so feel free also, if you have any comments or questions, for him to connect with him through the platform. While we are going to have this webinar, as we did during the last sessions, feel free to intervene. There will be some moments for asking questions. Of course, you can use the microphone and activate your microphone and ask your questions directly. Otherwise, you can use the chat, as we have been using all the times to provide some comments while we carry the webinar. And just one little thing is, while we are listening to the presentations or comments of other participants, please make sure that your microphone is muted so that we avoid some background noise. These are just the usual things that we have been doing all the time, and I'm sure that you all know, as you are also running webinars in your working practice. Let's move on to make sure that we also may carry out the webinar in 1 hour and 15. For today, we have this agenda to go through. As you know, the topic of the week is quality measures, when looking at different quality approaches and quality schemes. But at the same time, this is also the last week of the online course, so we thought that it could have been good to have a last session all together so that we can a little bit discuss both about the weekly topic, which is quality in e-learning, but at the same time do some reflections all together about the current status of your projects, of your e-learning projects, and complement these reflections with quality and benefiting from the presence of both Shaira and Rodrigo. And of course, the reflections and comments that we are going to have online are, of course, backed up and complemented by the resources that are available on the platform, by the activities. So, of course, it's not going to be limited to this 1 hour and 15. We'll start with a short recap on your e-learning project so that we make sure that everybody is on the same path. We have a little update from each of the projects that you are working on. And we will talk a little bit a summary about quality matters. What that mean? What were the approaches that we were talking about during the course? And we will have a specific focus on ECB check, as we have also done during the course. We have shared with you some specific resources regarding the ECB check grid and self-assessment tool, and Ira will help us with this focus. She will give us a concrete example on how we can use, how can we benefit from this tool, and how can we use this tool for the benefit of our e-learning projects. And last but not least, we will also provide some practical information that regards the closing of the course. So I will make sure that you will get all the essential information for the closing of the course, and I'm open to clarification and question from your side. Quickly in the chat, if there are any comments from your side, if you are fine with the agenda, and if there are no comments from your side, I would like to move ahead to the next slide so that we can start with the recap on the project. For informing me that Valerie is not available today, but the recording of this webinar and the presentation will be available as usual on the course platform, so that everybody that is not attending the webinar could catch up with what happened today. So I see that there are comments, and I will go ahead. Recap on the e-learning project is just a very short introduction to the webinar. As I told you, we would like to have to summarize a little bit the work that we have done so far, all together, collectively. First of all, thank you so much for being very active and be very interested in taking the challenges of this course and trying to integrate your working schedule with the also demanding task of the course and integrate all the resources and tools within your projects. We know that it's difficult, and I think that something that we would like to acknowledge as a team behind behind the course is that since the beginning, the teams that were part of this course were starting at a different stage. The project proposal that you submitted were not aligned. You started with different ideas, and also the skills available in every group were very different. And the most important thing for us is that we now acknowledge that each and every group in a way benefited from the course, and you could use some tools and some resources to fine and to further shape your proposal, your initial proposal, and your initial ideas. I see that Virginie is telling me that one project is missing, the performance management 20-day challenge. Yeah, you are right, Virginie. Thank you. It's missing from this table, but it's available on the course platform. As I remember that an e-learning project room has been created, so of course the project is there. But thank you for letting me know of this small typo. I will ensure that it will be integrated afterwards in the PowerPoint presentation. And one of the things that we also want to highlight as a team, as a coach of these different groups, is that the group work that has been done behind every project was really working fine. And we hope that you can continue after this course is over, starting from next week, in the refinement of such projects, same way you have done until now. Just don't be scared about the fact that we want to recap a little bit on the project, but we just want to have a very short knowledge sharing regarding the different ideas, the different advancements, and the different resources and tools that you could use during these 8 weeks of the course to further improve your proposal. The first question that I would like to ask to each and every one of you is there anything that you would like to share with us? One thing that you have learned while working on your e-learning project about these 8 weeks? Just a very small thing. It doesn't have to be a complex idea, but it would be very nice from us to hear from you. And also, I think it could be good also, since we are all collectively together, to take advantage of this moment to see if there is just one small thing that you have learned while working on your e-learning project throughout these 8 weeks of the course. May I ask you, Almudena, as we do again the round of the participants?
Well, I would say that probably the thing that really stood out for me, it was the fact that as professional designers, sometimes we think about the course from the point of view of the teacher, but don't really put the learner in the center of the course when we are planning to build the course. I really like these resources that you share with us, the empathy map, because I thought it was a very relevant resource to put yourself in the shoes of the learner. Something that I think we miss out very often because we only think about the perspective of the teacher.
Okay, with us something that you learned?
Thank you. Well, I think from working from the method of working, so the fact that we had the form, that we could choose the time that we were able to do work, and the fact that we had the forum and we all shared. I mean, I learned amazing numbers of things from my colleagues. So that I have learned that I will integrate very well into my course. Rather than thinking that the focus could be the web, I've changed very dramatically to thinking that the course content of what I design and how the interaction will take place is actually the focus of what I should do, which perhaps is a little bit what Almudena was saying, putting the learner at the center. I experienced it as a learner, and that was really valuable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Share with us the session for you.
Veronique and myself, the project at the launching phase or almost launching phase. What's really interesting is to see the time we did for the details for the project to be ready. Amazing, because the content of the pedagogical part was already done. We started with you at the pilot phase. I learned a lot, and it was very impressive to see, even though we thought the project was ready, the amount of work was still needed. And it was really interesting to see, relating to the communication and the instructions we need to give to participants, that we need to dedicate to have very, very, very clear. And that was really interesting from our point of view. Maybe Veronique has a different opinion.
Would you say something, or you?
Okay. Yes. Also, to follow on Almudena and Carol's idea is that indeed seeing the things from the student's perspective is completely different. And one of the things which were very important, I think, during these past weeks to understand was related to the structure of the courses. In what I mean by that is that as we used to work to have face-to-face classes, how to say, it was not obvious from the beginning that we're not actually switching the face-to-face classes into online classes. It's not at all that. And I have to admit that there was even from myself, there was a resistance at the beginning, because we were so focused on wanting to have the same outcome from the face-to-face course. And we realized that this is not at all not what we have to do, nor what we want to do. And out from there, I myself, I know I'm late, completely late compared to my colleagues, but what I started working is when I said, okay, what is exactly the outcome I want from 12 hours teaching, or what exactly is the outcome I want from 24 hours, regardless how in the other context of face-to-face. And out of there, it started working well. So
okay.
The switch of the vision was very important.
Something that Almudena shared before?
Oui, on a travaillé, en fait, quand notre travail, c'est plutôt refaire quelque chose qui était déjà online, qui était déjà fait online. Pour moi, ce que j'ai retenu un peu, c'est que nous, en tant que prof, on peut donner un cours face-to-face et on pourrait changer un nombre de fois le matériel, mais les changements essentiels dans un cours virtuel, en e-learning, c'est beaucoup plus grand. J'ai l'impression que le e-learning nous offre des options pour des formats, pour des activités, pour des crunching, pour définir des objectifs et de façon exponentielle beaucoup plus élevée que le face-to-face.
Mm-hmm. Merci. Would you like to compliment your colleagues?
Oui, tout à fait d'accord avec Juan et Gillian. Donc en ligne, c'est pas tout simplement un transfert. Et c'est surtout parmi beaucoup de... Il y a l'idée de e-facilité, e-modération qui m'est restée. Donc c'est vraiment quelque chose, un travail qu'on doit faire, approfondir plus tard.
Would you like to also answer this question?
So I'm also behind of the project, but I'm deep into it now, and what hit me is that we changed the platform from Unite Connect to Moodle, and new structure dictates a complete rethinking on how we want to do it. Although it was blended learning before, so technology drives a and it not expected it. So at the moment I do long hours because I have to rethink, and that caught me by surprise than I thought. But Virginie might have other aspects, and Sandrine, we are working together on this project, and I think we have different perspectives on it, so I'd be very interested to hear them complimenting me.
That's why we are also having this moment. I think it's very important for everybody to hear. Sarah, would you like to share with us your the one thing I've learned?
Hello, everyone. I haven't learned one thing. I've learned about 1,000 things, and that is probably the problem. It's,
I'm glad about that, by the way.
Yeah, l'embarras du choix. It's really, there's stuff out there. I'm somebody who likes to absorb and think and then do things. So I would say I'm still in the absorbing and thinking stage, and I intend to continue the process after the end of this course, the online part of the course. And I've got many ideas which I will need to refine. I think that's how I like trial and error, the good old trial and error.
Thank you. Virginie, do you have any other aspect that should be integrated, referring to what Sabine said before?
Just to on what Sabine was saying is that we tend to underestimate the amount of time that is needed for preparation. So that's very important, and I would say that's a killer. And what I've learned in general from this project is that there is a lot of information, and it's difficult to absorb everything. So it's a good. It has been helpful to have other perspective of what we're doing in blended learning and to enrich our current, I would say, practices. I think I agree with Sarah is that you're. At least I'm still in the absorbing mode, and integrating all what we have learned is impossible, but it's step by step when you do it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. So, with the last comments, Sylviane?
Valerie and I, in fact, we started from scratch as it was a complete new idea for this course, the grammar course. And I have to say that it was quite difficult at the beginning because you don't have, if you want a kind of structure, so it's easy. But what was very useful to me is to have a global view of many tools about also methodology, interaction, facilitation, and then little by little we managed to see what kind of tools or methodology we would be using for this particular course. And yes, so we're still working on the format, type on the methodology, on the interaction, but it's much more clear. Which was very important for me is e-facilitation. Like I learned it's important to acknowledge contribution, to encourage achievers or to keep talent. And it's also a question for me because the grid, it's mentioned that tutors have specific knowledge and competencies to facilitate online courses. So if you have any ideas about e-facilitation online courses for us?
Yeah, we will come back also to that later in the summary of done by Shaira regarding e-tutoring, and yeah, we can also refer to in the course discussion forum some good resources where you can find also open courses for e-facilitation. We still have Sandrine and Veronique. Sandrine, would you like to say still something that has not been mentioned before?
No, most of them have been mentioned. I think it was quite interesting to see the way you organize your platform. There's a lot of information, and to actually see it from the student perspective. I agree with what Sabine and Virginie say. It takes quite a long time to design actually, and you really need to think it through before you start designing. I had a quick question. How long will we have access to the platform? Because I know the course is ending this week.
Don't worry. We'll also also come to that at the end of this webinar. It's part of the essential information, but just to quickly reply, it will be open until the end of May. 2 months, if I'm not wrong. Well, but it's written in the PowerPoint presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have Véronique. Véronique, would you like to complement this quick round?
Oui, vous m'entendez? Oui.
Oui.
Oui, je voulais dire aussi que grâce au cours, comme nous étions, moi, ça m'a permis de me rendre compte de l'aspect. Enfin, je pense que lorsqu'on a commencé les tests de placement en ligne, on est plutôt du côté professeur. Et comme l'a dit Fabienne et comme le dit aussi Almudena, on a mis l'étudiant au centre. Et je me suis rendu compte qu'il fallait vraiment faire attention pour que tout soit clair, les instructions. Donc, c'est ce travail dont a parlé Fabienne. Pour moi, ça a été un petit peu une révélation. C'est-à-dire, oui, c'est très important de se mettre à la place de l'étudiant et pour rendre l'accès plus facile, les instructions plus claires et pour beaucoup plus facile. Donc, en étant dans votre cours, ça m'a appris beaucoup de choses aussi.
Merci beaucoup. Okay, thank you very much for being for answering, and I think that the three important aspects that you were stressing from one side to it was important to participate in this course as students, as learners, so that you can also transfer a learner-centered approach in your own courses, and a lot of resources and tools. Of course, it could. Rodrigo was also sharing in the chat that you have a map or many map, and you can read these knowledge that we share together as a map, so that you can always refer to this course platform and refer to all the instructional design cycles at your own pace after this course ends, and to integrate all the tools and resources a little bit slow as well. And also the other aspect that I found very important was, I think, that you realize that it's not so automatic and obvious to transfer a face-to-face course into an online course. Therefore, it takes some time to adjust, but once the structure and the methodology are then in place, I think that you can easily replicate and scale in the future. So I hope that this course is going to be very practical for you in the future. I would just want to move ahead to the next slide and directly connect to the topic of the week, which was quality, and then afterwards we will give the floor to Shaira, which will help us do a little bit the point on quality and all the resources that were during this week, which I know were again many resources. My question now is, we have been working on different projects. We know that we have learned things, as Sarah was saying, during these past 8 weeks. But regarding quality, is there any aspect that you would like to stress? Is there one aspect related to quality you have learned while working on your project? Since this week we were also focusing on quality as a specific issue. You can decide if you want to intervene via the microphone. If you feel more comfortable, you can just write in the chat. Just make sure that your comment is going through everyone. I'm just restarting again. We just do a quick round. Almudena, is there just one thing that you think it's very important to consider regarding quality that you have had in your project?
Well, the way I see this quality check or quality control is that I have actually looked closely I have looked at the ECB checklist. For me, the important thing is that everything is categorized. So it really works for me as a checklist that to be used before actually working on the project or during the process, so that I know that everything is under control and I have actually tackled all the points that are considered in a quality control scheme. So for me, it's having a list of quality sort of elements that actually help me to design and implement my course.
Carol, just one quick thing in quality.
Yes, like Almudena, I've been looking at the checklists and looking at the different schemes that we've been presented with, and the thing that seems to me that one has to be careful of is the person, to make sure that I think, like there'll be useful checklists so that we can check that we've got balance across our courses that I'm looking at.
Shaira will also help us later to have a concrete example on this checklist and see how we can use it in practice.
Oh, sorry.
Was if there is any aspect related to quality that you think you have learned while, for example, going through this pilot test on the French. You have to. I'm sorry.
I was thinking of the technical requirements, and here every rules are collapsed at the. I mean, not collapsed, but merged. We everything all together, and in the ECB quality grade, I see that it's requested to have a clear definition of who's doing what and what are the different roles. And this is something I think we need to clarify in our team if we want to have future projects on e-learning, because at times everything is merged and not enough clear, especially the double and the different technical requirements of the course.
Thank
you.
Did you say something? Would you like to say something? No? Juan?
The previous statements. I think for me, the most important is the standardization, because quality needs to be standardized, and it's very important to have some almost criteria so we can, as the blended offer or the online offer of our courses at the same level. So I think that key of quality is to have standards and rules to judge everything with the same criteria, basically.
Oh, thank you. Lee, would you like to say something, or we can? Okay, that's fine. Sarah, would you?
No. While working on the project, I've learned that I think all of us here at STLS were very into quality in our face-to-face classes, and I think sometimes it's difficult to feel we're not giving the same quality as we are beginners in this new area. So I suppose that's something I've learned, that we mustn't be too hard on ourselves. It's step by step, and you can learn from your mistakes. It's this iteration business that's interesting, that by doing it again, it's a learning curve, basically.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I agree with you. Virginie, would you like to say something about quality?
I'm just thinking about what Juan stressed. It's very important to have a common approach, because we have the language, we have management and communication. I think to set some standards, communication that the student can see the coherence of the offering we are giving. I think that it's something we start work. We have a working group, but this is very important that they see that it's a team that works, even if it's different languages and also another separated type of training. But that the participant, whenever they enter in one of our blended learning courses, is that they see some similarities, so at least they can associate it. So this is UNOG, this is SDLS. So so I think this is something that we need to work on and agree on.
Okay, thank you very much. I said Veronique shared the same view as Juan, so having the same criteria, standards to work on projects as a priority. So same thing as Virginie just shared. Sandrine, would you like to say something that has not been shared by your colleagues before regarding quality?
Yes, aspect of quality, I think it's very important to rehearse, because I think you can quickly lose your credibility right at the beginning of the WebEx or webinar. So I think it's very important, even if we are new to it, to rehearse not one or twice and think you're gonna just nail it on the spot, but to spend quite time doing it and set times.
Okay, not talking about webinars, then it would be testing, for example, if we're talking about an asynchronous course or an asynchronous intervention. And then also to say something, or thank you.
I wanted to say something about the target group orientation. It was quite new to me to see that we have also to measure the program workload. And in the grid they say to see how it's with full-time job occupation. So this is quite new for me because I think it's quite difficult to know exactly who are our students and so to measure their workload and their free time, the time invest in their scores. So it's something that to think about.
Okay. Thank you. Well, thank you also for going through these ECB check grid. As you see, it's quite detailed. There is a list of different criteria, sub-criteria, guiding question. And from my experience, what I think is very useful is that you also have a column that refers to evidence, so that we have to reply to this guiding question, but we also have to provide evidence for what we are answering. So it's a good exercise to reflect on what type of quality and what type of quality we are offering to our courses. And it's very good that you're mentioning that this set of criteria is standard, is homogeneous, so that you can easily adapt it in all your courses, and this could be easily recognized also from your target audience, from the external world, as a good label, label for your courses. Before passing the floor to Shaira, I would just want to ask Rodrigo if he wants to intervene, if he wants to say something. Feel free to do so. Otherwise, we give the floor to Shaira, which was an introduction and a practical example of the ECB check, so that you can all benefit from this practical tool.
Just a short mention that actually what I said, this is a good checklist, not only to check if something's achieved a certain quality, but it's also basically a criteria you can apply before starting. To get it wrong in order to check it, it's a good criteria to check while developing. I think it's one of the most interesting uses for this criteria.
Yeah, then I'll pass the floor to Shaira so that we dive a little bit into the quality. Microphone problem. And we
it should be working now. So you can hear me. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your views on what matters for you and how you saw the grid, like OpenECB check. As you know, there is a lot going on out there when it comes to quality, and on slides you might recognize some quality checks, but also you can see ISO, which is about the standards. And sometimes I want to ask which grade check is the most suitable. We have proposed in this course, as you can see through the week, actually proposed 3 resources, which is coming actually in the next slide. And resources, of course, OpenECB check. We also shared with you Quality Matters and the quick scan from the Excellence Quality e-learning. But I'd like to mention that some of you, namely Fabienne, thank you, Fabienne, for sharing the report that's called Chico, that was developed by the University of California, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, there were also very many questions and also like the remarks that you guys now share. What is fit for an e-learning project? What is the most important? And the idea behind sharing these with you is just to have an idea how they could look like. And we'd like to spend some time on the Open ECB check grid again. Very happy to hear that some of you had the time to look into details and that you have also precise questions. But in a nutshell, I think we shared also the video by Ulf Ehlers talking about what it is exactly. And you can see here the 7 basic categories. In a category, there is a set of criteria. As you all mentioned, as a check, of course, is fully designed, but also to integrate it in the design from the beginning. And so, we thought, let's go through something that we also examined very well in this course, namely the course design. And so, course design, as you can see, we have 7 criteria: learning methodology, motivation, participation, learning materials, e-tutoring, collaborative learning, assignments and learning progress, assessment and tests. And because we wanted actually to know what, and we can go back to the slide afterwards, current stage of your project, what criterion requires most attention to the learning project, and why? So that the projects were not finished and fine. And so what do you think among these 7 criteria could be one that needs more attention? We had in the beginning that e-facilitation, e-moderation are key. Also, yeah, maybe there is another criterion. So would somebody share what criterion in their project needs more attention? We'll use the microphone and so the chats, and be happy to hear. I see in the chat that shared motivation and participation. A few words about that as we start the conversation.
Yeah, I can share the reason why I put D2. You all know our project is the placement test for French, and this week we have 140 participants, and the deadline for them to test is next Monday. And I see at the moment there are only 20 of them who have done it. So it is the motivation and participation that's important at this phase, because we send reminders and we want to that they all complete the test on time and they don't drop it off at the middle in the middle of the test. This is difficult, huh? So that's our at the moment.
I see that Sabine, for example, you chose something else. Would you like to share with us why? Okay. I don't know if Sabine is still with us and if you could hear us. But in time, also I have thanks to everyone for sharing. It seems like D1 is very, very popular. Design methodology more attention. So, Modena, are you still with us? Because you've chosen something a little bit different. Assignment and learning progress.
I think probably because we are using the backward design in our course, so we always start the learning design with the assessment in mind. For us, it really goes together. We really design without having an idea of how the students are going to be assessed and what it means for us. So normally link both from the very beginning.
Yes, Sabine, please, if you could share with us your view maybe on neurology. Is in the chat. Alors, Victor, bonjour, merci d'être venu à ce webinaire. All right. I can hear you now.
Question is what the special point in my project, right? So the course is it's ready for April to test. So it's being PhD and students from Geneva who registered for the course, but not many, lucky. Have volunteer students from New York, duty station. So also now is about the tutoring and especially the WebEx sessions because and the first goal was to give some face-to-face workshop in Geneva, but as we have students from stations, so we have to organize WebEx sessions instead. So main concern right now, and I'm to get ready for this.
Thanks, Benedict. Yeah, I saw that someone said you can now. Let's try it. Otherwise.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I realized I need to unmute two places. So, learn soft here. The challenge for me is a variation in the learning design. I realized when I had the first iteration of the course, it was very much focused on forum and peer learning and interaction. And on the Moodle platform and with the change of the structure, it needs a greater variety of different things, and that's the biggest challenge on my side at the moment.
Okay. Well, to you, Sabine, and everyone who shared in the chat, D1 learning design methodology and motivation, participation are important, but as Carol said, actually all of them do need more attention, and we have chosen to go a little bit deeper in one of these criteria. I'm surprised, but why don't was not so much mentioned here, but I agree that we're talking about things that need more attention, and I'm happy to hear that maybe e-tutoring is not so much of a problem. So if you look at e-tutoring, it actually has a set of criteria to be more precise for curriculum. And one of them is predefined tutoring skills are being used as a standard within the program. That is then described, actually, what it's about. In this case, students are equipped with suitable skill tutoring, which are documented as a skill standard for tutoring. And at the beginning of this webinar, there was a question about this, and I'll make sure that at the end I'll share a link to the e-facilitation e-tutoring course by Tony Carr. You can remember we shared that in the social forum, but I'll make sure we have, again, the PDF, which is actually a course on e-facilitation and where e-tutoring is well described. So the way it functions in the grid, as most of you have seen, is that a criteria is described, have a set of guiding questions In this case, for example, our teachers sensitized to specific aspects related to e-tutoring, responsibilities and tasks, or has tutors' agreements on the basic e-tutor skills being documented? And questions are actually guiding to see if that criterion is fulfilled or not. To sum it up is, within the category, you have a set of criteria, and for the description, the help of the description and the guiding questions, you can see if for your course, if the criterion is fulfilled, or as Rodrigo mentioned, we don't have to wait until the end. We can integrate it in and check against these questions. So there were some questions in the forum about whether one team is better than the other. I would like to be critical about the OpenECB check here and ask the question, does the check grade survey learning project meet standards, as Juan mentioned that? But before just moving to that, I see a question from Sarah. Is there a more simple way of explaining this? I guess, Sarah, you are referring to the guiding questions, right? Can you?
Yes, the two previous screens. I got a bit lost. I mean, just e-tutoring, tutored, doctored, agreed with whom? I'm quite lost, to be honest.
So, well, look back to the description. Maybe I was too fast, and thanks for the heads up. The is equipped with suitable skills for training and documented. And so I knew the formulation can be better, but the idea is to make sure these skills are documented and that the tutoring is of a quality. Is that a better explanation?
What do you mean? Written down somewhere, or?
I can refer here to some of the terms of references shared in the social forum.
So, I have an example that maybe helps clear up. For example, each time this is for works on vocational training, institutions from all around Latin America and the Caribbean. What they do, even face-to-face courses, they create a description of what the teacher has to look like. Right? For the course, they create a profile for the participant, but they also create a profile for the teachers, because most, since vocational training is tightly linked to industry, they take of teachers that come directly from the industry. From time to time. So they have to create a profile for each courses that they will assess before hiring this teacher. And this is for face-to-face or for distance learning. This profile, many of the facilitation skills will be actually described and documented.
Clearer, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Be connected via microphone. Otherwise, quickly come to my screen and back to you. All right, I hope that you can hear me now. So I can totally confirm, and Tom shared that also with us in the social forum. I'll make sure I share the link to term reference of what the skills of a tutor is. Any questions so far to the question of the criteria of the e-tutoring? All right. Okay. Well, aren't any questions? Then I'll move ahead. Yeah. At the let's get critical point, and it's your turn. Does it want to start with the whether it's really for your project? I know Fabienne and Modena, also Carol, and many of you did take the chance to look at it. Does it start? Okay. About how much it is useful for your project as such?
I think, to be totally honest with you, I haven't had the time to look into it, but I haven't time yet to basically take my project and analyze all of the aspects that are relevant within the ECB check criteria. But I think it's extremely useful, as my colleagues previously said, to set up our own quality criteria. Some of them are very relevant, some others are less relevant. And I think once we have done that, we can have our own tool that we can help us to design new projects, but also to assess what we have. At the moment, the criteria that are most important for me is the technical requirements, the communication, etc. for the placement project.
Est-ce que de ton côté, tu voudrais ajouter quelque chose par rapport à l'utilité de cette grille pour ton projet?
Oui, enfin moi j'ai utilisé d'ailleurs, on l'a un peu utilisé d'ailleurs pour définir les tâches d'un prof qui va donner un cours online dans le working group qui a pour définition de nouveaux formats. Et moi je pense que comme toutes les grilles, c'est des critères assez abstraits qu'après il faut trouver l'action dans le contexte réel. Et dans mon cas, je m'étais concentré juste sur la partie de la grille. Je pense que c'est une façon d'utiliser ce genre d'outils. C'est nécessaire de passer l'examen, au moins dans mon cas, je pense que c'est plus utile de se concentrer sur un aspect que de faire tout global. Mais bon, je sais pas, je suis dans le...
Did anyone else have the chance to use parts of the grids or like look at some criteria that made them think, oh, this is really relevant for this project, or not at all?
Started using it as we are developing our course at the moment, and I agree that we had a couple of problems or issues on the description of the course and the instructions given to the students. So I really concentrated on the first part specifically on all the criteria that lists what kind of information you have to include, referring to what specific issues, what kind of objective you have to include in each module and of the course, I think you call it module or unit. It's stated in the grid. So I think that was very helpful to actually reframe this content. So I think that was quite helpful for me because you had such a detailed list of what you have to include that I actually went through it point by point, and it was extremely helpful for the description of the course myself.
Much. I see that some of you need to leave right now. Thanks for attending. If please, if you have more comments, share with us in the chat. And sorry for the technical problem. I'll hand over physically again, Alessia. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have one last comment in that as some of you have mentioned during the course that at the moment there is a massive open online course on quality for digital learning. I know that some of you is attending the course as an active participant, and the MOOC has been conceived actually because the grid was born some years ago, and of course it needs some refinements and some revision, as you may have noticed. Therefore, also this massive open online course will be actually very interesting to see if at the end of the two months we can have also an improvement in this grid, and this grid could be therefore be more useful for us since we are all working in this area now, and we are all aware that technological innovations and e-learning runs quite fast. Would you like to say something just to close this conversation regarding ECB check and how it could be useful as a self-assessment tool for our projects, or just close the webinar? Let me know.
Yeah, I can say something that I find particularly interesting. If you take a look from a certain perspective, a certain distance from the criteria, and it is that we assess the quality. We tend to think about the contents. That there's nothing in criteria that talks about the contents. Okay, so many things that would provide quality to a course, but what we have there does not refer to the contents. Even in the learning materials section, is a reference to the scaffolding, to the structure, right? About the quality of the actual content. Again, a difference between what we traditionally have been doing, which is good if the book is a good book, right? To understanding all the other dimensions that we have to care about when we talk about quality. I just wanted to make that point because I guess lots of people telling me, I'm not sure if I can get somebody to tell me if my course is good or bad quality from external perspective. Well, it's not the content, right? It's the structure and methods. That's all.
If there are no other comments regarding this reflection, I will move ahead to the next slide so that we can also conclude the webinar and make sure that also everybody can go back to as I see some of you already had to leave. But yeah, please remember that of course this conversation and reflection can continue on the course platform, as tomorrow is still a Friday and we still have time to dive into the different materials that refers to quality. My last script for this webinar answers a little bit some of the questions that you have asked to me at the beginning of the session. So first of all, the course, I would like to make sure that tomorrow you will all receive a link to fill in a final evaluation for this online course, as it's very important for us to receive feedback on this experience that we carried out together. We have already had an interim evaluation some weeks ago, but it's also important to have a final recap on the quality of this course and how much was useful for you. The course, as I said before, the course platform will remain accessible until end of May. So therefore, you have a couple of months still to visit, to access it, to still explore the materials that you didn't have time to go through it. Yeah, the discussion forum will be still open. I know that you some of the past weeks were quite active and substantial, so you can also still go through all the comments, and we will receive notification of your comments in the platform if you're going to do so. And we'll try also to ensure that your comments and questions will be answered. Just it will be at a different pace, different from the pace of the course. And you will also receive regarding the certification that is expected at the end of the course in about 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tomorrow. Let's say from the course that is officially tomorrow. And please use the learning projects room, the discussion forum rooms that we have been used until now to get feedback and regarding the specific projects, just to get in touch with your e-coach and think about a wrap-up meeting if you think it's necessary before the course ends. It could be, I'm having a wrap-up meeting next week with one group, so feel free to adjust this meeting with your e-coach individually. It could be through the forum, it could be through Skype. You can decide whatever it's better for you. Speaking and giving this information, I have some question in the chat. Can you share the recap of the evaluation? Okay, that this recap is available at the end of the course. You mean, Carol, if I understand well, you want the summary of the final evaluation that we are going to send tomorrow?
It'd be nice to know what everybody said in the evaluation.
Okay, sure. We can share it. Our knowledge learned through this course going to be evaluated. Okay. As you saw during the course, the structure of the course was in between having learning activities, having social forum interactions, and then at the same time working on your projects. So we are going to make sure that each and every one of you was active throughout the course, that could participate somehow in all the activities and interaction in the forum. And of course, we are not going to evaluate that at the end of the course the project is at the same stage, because as I said before, you started with different project proposal, and the project proposal were a different stage, and also the groups you were working with were composed of different skills and different disciplines. That there is we will make sure that there is a combination of different engagement in learning activities, in the forum, and also in making sure that the e-learning project were advancing. Do we have until Monday to finish the week 7? Yes, sure. The week now we are not going to close the week on Sunday. You can have until Monday if you think you are more comfortable in going through the assignments during the weekend. There is no problem. And yeah, again, as I said, the course platform is going to be open. You can still adjust and schedule an individual meeting with your e-coach, and the discussion forum will be still open from next week. You can access this space if you think that there's some questions that needs to be answered from our side. Yeah, I think that's all from our side. And the content and the tool and the resources will be slowly and step by step transferred to the COP that you have at UNOG, so that you can also have your own institutional space where you can continue the learning experience. Is there a final comment or question? Otherwise, I think that we can continue the interaction on the course platform. I see there is, okay, just the last comments. I thank you all as well for your participation. I know that it was hectic. You're very busy. We're all glad to be busy with you. The participation was growing and growing, and we hope that it was interesting, effective, and useful, and also that you enjoyed also this we spent together. Recording of the webinar will be available on the platform. Okay, so I conclude here, and I send greetings from everyone. I don't know if she's connected, but she's sending greetings.
Alors, merci à tous. Muchas gracias. Shukran jazilan. And I don't know how to say it in Chinese, but thank you very much, everyone.
Okay.